Professor Suraj Ajadi is one of the 15 children of late merchandise and transporter of repute Alhaji Ajadi aka 440 in the ancient town of Ede in Osun State in southwest Nigeria.
Dr. Professor now, uh, Suraju Oluwasegun Ajadi, by coincidence, we are from the same town. He's from Ede. And he's from a rich family. His father is referred to as alias 440. Normally, I call him alias 440 because that's the name my mother gave to his father, who was a very brilliant and successful entrepreneur in his lifetime. When they came from Ghana during the time of Bushia, he was denying of everything he had in Ghana because they were living in Ghana. His father was living in Ghana. So he came back to Nigeria. He was one of those few Ede indigenes who successfully withered through the storm of repatriation and established a hold and successfully withered through business, motor driving. Nothing is can debar him from becoming a rich man. He was a driver, was a taxi driver, he was an entrepreneur, was everything until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed his business. And it was everywhere in Nigeria, Port Harcourt, Bauchi, Sokoto, Ede, so on. I got to know his father long time ago, before the birth of our celebrant today, Professor Suraj Oluwasegun Ajadi.
Young Suraj began his academic career in the early 70s at Young Tajuddin Primary School in Ede in the old Oyo State, now Osun State, after the creation of states in 1996 by the then head of state, late General Sani Abacha. He had a stint of education there before life had its course on the young Suraj. This made him to leave Ede to join one of his relatives in River State and continued his education at the Army Children's School in Port Harcourt. Suraj, as he is fondly called, passed with excellent results as one of the best from the primary school leaving certificate examination. He then proceeded to the foremost Baptist High School, Port Harcourt, for his secondary education. As a brilliant chap, he cleared his West African Examination Council with distinctions. This gave him the zeal to determine to study either medicine or becoming an engineer in the future. But as destiny would have it, he was admitted into the Faculty of Sciences not to study either medicine or even engineering, but the almighty mathematics.
He grew up, he was born at Ede, but he grew up in Port Harcourt, where I also happened to have my secondary education. So I was scared because he would have taken to that behavioral pattern of Niger Delta people. But he was lucky, he had a family, his father was very enterprising, had him to go to school that is well known, very popular, very disciplined. We call it Baptist High School, more plantation, Port Harcourt. So he graduated there in secondary school. And of course, because it was his good school, it's not surprising that he would be successful in getting admission to the universities. Luckily again, as God will have it, I was already a student in the university when he came in again. Well, I was about, okay, I had finished my university education when he came in as a student to read mathematics. God destined individual into different area. His first choice was medicine. It was when it was not possible that is the man that assisted him for struggling to get into the medicine now say, oh well, look, I'm tired of this, come and read mathematics. He was very reluctant to accept that as a career, but Allah blessed it for him, and that's what I told him. Today you are a professor of mathematics. Little did you know that you become a professor of mathematics, but because your father convinced you, everybody convinced you, take up this job. Even if you are looking up to read medicine, it may come, but whatever you are now, put everything you have in life into this. And I think he threw himself into the business. He was successful. He had his BSc in mathematics. He has masters in mathematics. He also has a PhD in mathematics, and also became a professor in mathematics.
Well, I think I would say it is destiny that put me into mathematics. I never wanted to be a mathematician because, well, I would say that I was privileged enough to have a smooth sailing to education. That, I mean, I didn't have any stopgap. Primary school, secondary school, everything was just going smooth. So what I had in mind initially was to go into engineering. That was the flip, because I was very good in mathematics, no doubt about that, and some sciences. So the mindset has always been to take to engineering. But as you know, sometimes when destiny has a way of, boxing you to where you never even dreamt of being or wanting to go to. So during that year, I think I had 236 in JAM, and maybe the cutoff was for a letter was 242 or something, which was what I actually had in mind. So, but there was somebody who I always remember him. He's still alive. One of our professors, Professor Alfred Adewuyi. He retired from the Department of Demography and Social Statistics. When he saw my results, he said, look, this person is good for mathematics, and why do you want to go into something, elect? Look, you can achieve, what they achieved there in elect in mathematics. So I think he did, without my knowledge, he did what need to be done, and maybe with some other people also, did what need to be done, and just got me into mathematics. Even though I tried so much to ensure that I still go back to where I wanted, but he insisted. And so that's so more or less I would say, well, God used him and some other people to make me to establish myself in mathematics, and I've never regretted it ever since.
Today, Professor Suraj Ajadi, a professor of mathematics, is one man of many parts.
I knew Ajadi as far back as 1990. We came into the university the same year, 1989, but that was in December. We didn't get to meet them. So during our part 1 year, that was around 1990. I cannot say the month exactly, but I know that was how we met. That was when we met. That was in 1990. And what actually drew me to him was that I knew some people around him. Of course, we all call him Suraju. So I was shocked when somebody told me he's not a Muslim. So I'm like, how can somebody be bearing Suraju and he's not a Muslim? So that was when I went to meet him personally. That I heard this about you. Why are you not praying? Why are you not a Muslim? So that was how we knew each other.
Alhaji Professor Ajadi is a man of many parts to me. If I will have to be honest with you, he's a brother. I usually call him Egmo. Apparently because we are from the same town, Ede, here in Osun State. And he's a colleague here in OAU. And it may interest you that we've been together way back since our undergraduate days here in Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife. While I was a student, an undergraduate student in the Department of Botany, he was an undergraduate student in the Department of Mathematics, good enough in the same faculty. Yeah, and we spent undergraduate time together. It was quite fun, and we usually watch each other's back since that time.
Anyway, he started as a very humble somebody. Very humble. There was never a time I could remember him to be being stubborn. Apart from being from humble background, there's one thing to be from humble background. It's another thing to actually emulate. Those actually are before you. We thank God for him. Apart from the fact that he's from a fairly well-to-do family, hardly can you see it in his behavior and in his character.
Ọmọ gidi ni fún wa, wọ́n jẹ́ pàtàkì fún wa, ó sì ń tún ìbí ṣe. Níjọ́ bàbá rẹ̀ ti lọ lẹ́ni ayé, gbogbo fámìlì ló kó mọ́ra, ọ̀rẹ́ ni o, ẹbí ni, àfẹn tí ọba rí, bí yóò rí gan-an, á ní nǹkan tí a ṣe fún. Tí nǹkan báyìí ti dé ní òun lé bàbá wọn báyìí, àbọ̀ bá yanjú ní ètò òkú ọmọ ẹ̀, á dúró, á yanjú ẹ̀, á dúró, á ṣe bí àgbà. Ẹni tí wọ́n bá fẹ́ ṣe gan tí ọba ṣe tó, á ní wọ́n gbàgbé lórí ẹ̀, á díbẹ̀. Ó jẹ́ pàtàkì nínú ilé Ajadi.
Suraj is a very naughty boy. We met in the university, and the first time I met him, I thought he was an Igbo guy. He behaved like one. And I think we met at, by the way, there's a woman that sells foodstuffs very close to Fajuri Hall, a butchery then. So he came there to buy, and he jumped the queue. He wanted to buy pepper and other things. He jumped the queue, and he was trying to push the other guys aside. And I said, look, that is not right. We are not going to allow that. I expected him to react, but he did not. He was very calm. He just saw that somebody has challenged him. So I think a week after, I now find out that we are actually neighbors in the hostel. He was living room 340, then I was living 342. So I went to their room. I had a friend there, Kunle Babalola. Kunle was a mathematics then, with Suraj. All of them were living in the same room. I think they arranged it. So I entered their room and I saw him. And he was the first person to greet me. He has forgotten the past, what happened by the wayside. And from there, after he greeted me, and I also felt like, let me just talk to this guy. I thought, up to that point, I still believe he was an Igbo guy. Until now, started speaking Yoruba to me. And where are you from? He said he's from Ede. Why am I asking? So you are from Osun State, you are a Yoruba guy. Then we started talking. I find him to be a very wonderful guy. After that, we became closer. Though we did not practice the same religion then. He was a Christian, I was a Muslim. I'm still a Muslim. Until, because he was going to Deeper Life Church. But that one did not affect our relationship. We became very close. We hid in each other's room until we finished. And went to Akwa Ibom State for service. I was in Imo State, and we never lost contact till he came back. He started working as a lecturer. I also went back to the university then for my further studies, and from there we became very, very close.
Professor Ajadi is passionate about achieving his vision and being the best always. Highly articulate and cerebral, Suraj has traveled on a research mission to Germany and many other Western countries of the world in search of academic excellence.
My first one was when I went with my supervisor, Professor Sokoya, to Italy, that is in Trieste, what we call the Absalom Center for Theoretical Physics, ICTP. So that gave me an opportunity, it gave me a wider exposure. It was an award that gave me an exposure for 3 months to be able to, have an inroad into my PhD work. But that was, I would say, it's like an opener, to a wide research endeavor which I'm into even up to today. So, and thereafter, even after my PhD, I also got another fellowship at this is called the Skateboard Foundation Fellowship at the Ben Gurion University of Negev, that is in Israel. So I was there for 2 years, and more recently, I was at the Central European University in Hungary, in Budapest, where I also was invited to conduct research for a few months, and so on and so forth like that.
Not only is he vast, devoted to excellence and strong politically, Professor Ajadi is known for his upright and defense for humanity.
Suraju has always been a very humble guy. He's somebody you would like meeting him for the first time. He's not proud. He doesn't talk so much. And when he needs to talk, it has to be necessary. He's not pompous, not at all. He doesn't see that richness as by his dad as something that is spectacular or special. He just saw it as an opportunity. He never lived in the university throughout as a son of a rich man. Never. So I don't expect him to change. He has always been the same person. So that's why people like him needs to be celebrated. He's been the same person, has not changed since we know him. Up till now, he has remained the same person. Suraju is one person. If he owes you money, it is him that will be disturbing you. That please, let me pay if what I'm owing. He doesn't want anybody's money to touch him. If he has any reason for your money to mix with his, he wants to give it to you immediately. So he's somebody that doesn't lay so much emphasis on wealth. He lay emphasis more on humanity and ability to help others, assist others. He can leave his own job and do other people's work at his own expense. That is him. That's right.
When you talk of our own family, apart from his father, he has no ego, sincerely yours. Very humble, very generous. And when you talk of holding family together, no, Prof is one to reckon with. Talk of open ties and kids together. He doesn't allow his status and position to appear in us what he is doing. You can't see it in his face.
Many times people wonder whom Suraj really is. But here, his friends and associates shed light on other aspects of his life people may not really know.
Hanging out, it is never in Ajadi's dictionary. But I don't even know any girl, any lady with him throughout our undergraduate. I never knew anybody with that. So that is also person and it's a female and it's close to Ajadi. The people I knew around him were males. These are Mori Adeniji, Kunle Babalola. These are the people I know with him. And so these people today, it's not as if anybody will have a party or whatever. Apart from meeting in the mosque, attending MSS program, the next thing is our tutorial and our classes. So he has never been a social person right from time. He has been a quiet person. Just all he knows is to study and probably pray and gist for a few minutes, and that is all his life.
Látàárọ̀ ọjọ́ rẹ̀ ló ti bá tiẹ̀ wá bá kọ̀ lápọ̀n kò sì dàyàn láàmú téè dàgbà o téè kàwé o téè gbébi tó gbé gbogbo ibi tó gbé o àríká pé nǹkan báyìí ló ṣe kò mọ̀ nǹkan èèyàn ó sì ní tẹríba fún gbogbo anybody gbogbo ẹni tó bá ti ní rí ó ní tẹríba fún wọn kò ní ìgbéraga bí n bá campus mẹ́wọ̀n tí n bá ráwọn àgbàgbà tí wọn bá dúró máa ní dúró gbé wọn àní màmá dénú máa ní dúró gbé wọn ọmọ wọn náà lọ́kọ ti tẹ́lẹ̀ mọ́jọ́ mọ́tọ̀dọ̀ yín ni yóò sì gbé wọn àwọn tètè wá dààmú tí n bá ti ń bọ̀ báyìí bí ọba ìṣẹ́rò ní ọkọ rẹ̀ á kó wọn lọ campus tá a bá ti ń bọ̀ mí létí ń kọ́ wípé tó di kó dénú ọgbà ní tí n bá ti ní yóò ṣe àbọ̀bá ọ̀hún náà tiẹ̀ ti mọ̀ yóò ṣe.
He is humble. We share many things together. When you start at a very low level of academic pedestal and you want to climb the ladder, you know. So we are doing many things in common, reading, doing research, encouraging ourselves, especially when our salary was just a mere 4,250 naira. So I remember when Dr. Ajadi, Mr. Ajadi then, now professor, when he wanted to buy a television. You know, we are also preparing to get married, to start our lives. You know, although we are praying to God then to give us a beautiful, humble wife, but we have to start setting up the home, and the salary was not encouraging, 4,250. So what we have to do, join cooperative, you know, then you take a loan, and you have to go to Lagos to buy a television and a Trident radio. It was funny, you know. And at a certain stage, there was somebody who offered to help him to carry the TV in Lagos. Of course, he had to part away with some money, but he couldn't. So he had to put the TV on his head, enter the Molue, get to Oshodi, then took a bus to Ife. And the TV, whenever he's hungry, you know, there is no money, you just look at the TV and say, yeah, that is my investment. This is why I'm hungry, you know. So it was very tough in those days. But we thank God that he has been faithful, and you know that he gave us the wisdom to survive the storm. And today we are all professors.
Yeah, you see the peak of every lecturer's ambition is to one day become a vice chancellor of a university, a minister, and you understand. Suraj is a politician. If you don't know, he plays politics very seriously. He has passion for it, but he's not the typical politician you see in Nigeria. He doesn't go to anything. He doesn't get involved in it because of money. That's the truth. He's a farmer. He has a farm. He has a cocoa farm. He has a plantain farm. He gives me plant. In fact, one of his plantains just arrived in my warehouse now. So he's somebody that is just a special breed.
Professor Suraj Ajadi is a family man, a man that in spite of his tight schedule in the class, still has the fatherly bond with 4 daughters and the young Ibrahim, the only son of the Ajadis. The beautiful wife of the man Ajadi cannot wish her heartthrob less, as Mrs. Fatima Ajadi and the children tell the world about Daddy.
What I cherish most in him is that he's an understanding man. He believes that if you have any problem, that is his own personal problem. A million words from me are not enough to describe and qualify my darling husband, Professor Suraj Olusegun Ajadi. Suraj has been a loving and caring husband, a brother, and my best friend. Because he is my best friend because he understands me very well. So the caring for me to make life better for me, he also believes that an injury to one is an injury to all.
He's a nice person, he's gentle and he's kind. He has a very large heart, he's
is accommodating, even to people that are not, they are non-family members. He receives people well.
He's a kind, generous and caring man, and he cares for his children very, very much.
He's a kind, understanding and caring man.
Daddy is a nice and gentle man to me. He take care of us, even if he's angry. He used to manage to explain to us.
A very principled man, Professor Suraj Ajadi is a member at the Progressive Union and OAU Muslim community. He has served in the highest authority in the institution with a remarkable achievement.
Is seen vocally, is seen overtly. Is not an introvert individual. And as a member of the Muslim community, he was very, very active. He's still very active. He was before now for about 5 years or 6 years the public relation officer of the Muslim community. Currently is the chairman of welfare committee of the Muslim community. It's a very responsible position. He has to look after our welfare. Not only that, he's very active in University of FIFA Muslim Graduate Association, an association that embraces all those who are graduated from this university and they are Muslims. These are two qualifications. You must have graduated from this university and you are a Muslim. You must have a degree from this university and you are a Muslim. So is very active in that organization, our association. He's currently the chairman of one business committee they set up called Unifemga Preparatory School. He is chairman of those who look after this is the chairman. Everything rests on his head: teacher salary, discipline, and so on. So by virtue of that, he's also a member of the board of trustees for the preparatory school. So the school has had an accolade, I would propose it, with the Federal Ministry of Education in terms of Federal Ministry of Education give them some money very recently, a huge amount of money, going to 5 million or so, to expand the school and to provide functional education to the young men.
If you talk about the political landscape here on campus, is a force to reckon with. If it comes to the labor movement like ASU, all of us are ASU, is also a force to reckon with. Like I said, politics, I'm sure you know that he's a member of the governing council of this university, a position he contested for and he won. In fact, out of about 4 or 6 people that contested that position, then he wasn't even a professor. He was just, I think, a reader, an associate professor then. And he contested with even full-time professors of many years. And he had the highest number of votes. You can imagine he had the highest number of votes that time. And that gives him a 2-year tenure as a member of the governing council. And aside from that, he's a key person in ASU, the Academic Staff Union of Universities. And I'm sure if you ask anybody in the Muslim community, they will tell you that he's been an executive member of the Muslim community, I think in 1 or 2 occasions. I think he's still a member of the executive committee of the OAU Muslim community as we speak. He has served in several committees of the Muslim community. And we also have an association, Unifemga, Association of OAU Muslim Graduates. The Ife branch, the national chapter, is being a very, very key player there.
Today, Professor Suraj Ajadi is being celebrated for his exemplary life, and as such, wishes and prayers are pouring in for this jolly good fellow.
I wish him very well, and at the same time, if I'm to go into enumeration, I cannot exhaust it. All what I wish for him is that the sky is going to be his limit. And whatever you can think of using professorial title for, I wish him to attain such a status by the grace of God.
I'm so glad today that we are celebrating hard work. I'm so glad that Allah is rewarding him right in his lifetime. It is a thing of joy, because some people, Allah will reward them, but they will have gone. So we now be celebrating them behind their back. But it is a thing of joy that today Ajadi is alive. He is witnessing his own handiwork. That all those things he was doing then that nobody was taking note of. I'm sure he himself was not even taking note. He was just doing it in his own way. That is being rewarded right now. I can only pray unto Allah to bless all that he has given him and to make it beginning of good things in his life and that of his family.
Olusegun Ajadi Suraj, today is a very wonderful day for you. It's a special day, and I pray that God Almighty will take you to the peak of your career and give you long life, sound health, and ability to serve humanity more.
My wish for him, anyway, is that may God continue to protect him in all ramifications against any form of ill feelings from human beings, from just name it. So may God continue to protect him in all endeavors, give him good life, give him sound health, abundant accomplishment of life.
I wish him good and sound health. I wish and pray that God in his infinite mercy will continue to guard, guide, and protect him and his family, and take him to that enviable position that we all have been praying for. We are very close. I wish one day that he becomes a minister in the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and people will see how things should be done.
I wish he gets to the top of this career. I wish him a long life, healthy. I wish him prosperity.
Ajadi, ọmọ ẹdẹ mọ̀pá àrógún, ọmọ ají sọ̀sọ̀, ọmọ ají fọjọ́ gbogbo dára bí egbin, ọmọ olókè méjì, òkè méjì takọtabo, lágbára Ọlọ́run, ẹ̀mí á gùn.
Professor Suraj Ajadi, all your friends and well-wishers wish you a happy birthday and many more years ahead.